Hi, my name is Nicole. I live in Honolulu and I'm here today to talk about meth because I lost my little sister last week to impacts of methamphetamine use. Her heart failed. My sister was 33 years young, a mother, and I don't want anybody else to suffer what she suffered. And I don't want anyone else to be in my position watching a family member or loved one deteriorate from the impacts of this life-destroying drug. So I did not grow up in Hawaii, but I grew up in a town where meth was prevalent in inland Southern California, and while I wasn't involved in it, my crew of friends weren't involved in it. I knew that a lot of people were, and as it turns out, my sister, who stayed in our hometown, got into the scene. She had a boyfriend shoot her up for the first time. He was dealing meth, amongst other things, and I don't know when that was, but what I do know is in late 2019, I got a call that she was in the ER in California and might not make it. So I flew out from Honolulu and spent about a month with her in the ICU. She had endocarditis, which is an infection of the heart, more or less. It was on her aortic heart valve, which had to be replaced. And endocarditis is something that can happen from shooting up drugs. My sister was meth positive when she went into the hospital. She was lucky enough to get that heart valve replaced, and she was given another chance and released out of the hospital in January 2020, basically straight into the pandemic world. And social support services were strained at that time, and she ended up relapsing at some point. I don't know when, but about a month ago, she ended up in the ER again. She had a bunch of stuff going on with her, including diabetic ketoacidosis, but she also now had cardiopulmonary hypertension, which can happen from smoking meth, and ended up again with a infection on that same valve she had gotten replaced. This time the infection was too big and too severe, and her body was too weak, and they couldn't fix it. The antibiotics weren't working, and they couldn't perform surgery on her because she wouldn't survive it. So my sister died after having suffered several heart attacks in the hospital, being resuscitated several times. And she passed away last week as a 33-year-old mother. And that is the biggest impact meth has had on my life as a loved one and a big sister. So the biggest impact meth has had on my life was the loss of my sister. But it's also landed some other people I love in jail. It's actively destroying the community where I grew up, and I see it destroying people and community in Hawaii also. Not only is losing people you love from meth terrible, seeing people you love go to jail is terrible, but the way it impacts your relationships to them while they're alive is terrible too. My sister was a smart, intelligent, beautiful human and a loving mother, And when she was high on meth or caught up in all the other things that go on along with addiction, she was not her best self. She was not the person she wanted to be. And that was hard for our relationship. It was hard for me to figure out how to maintain healthy communication with her and show up in love. She got in trouble with the law and also stopped taking care of her own health. And I think that that's an impact we don't talk a lot about as well, how addiction can create this ripple of chaos and a lack of self-love and a lack of self-care. I'm not an addiction specialist or a professional in the world of recovery. I'm a sister, big sister, a family member, a community member of people who have been hurt by meth addiction. And the thing that I know from watching that, it is never worth it. They have all ended up in jail or with broken families or dead. Those are just the people I know. There's so many other stories. And the other thing I know is that life is worth it, and you are worth it. You are loved. And there is so much out there worth being around for. So find the help that you need. And I don't know what it is for you. I don't know if it's the ocean, if it is a rehab program, if it's a meditation retreat, if it's finding new friends. But I can tell you that it's worth figuring out what that is, and the process might not be easy, but it will be the best work you can do for yourself. So I'm sending you love, and I'm sending you hope, and I'm sending you strength. I'm Nicole, and what we need to end meth is love for ourselves, love for each other, and we need to amp up funding to our social support services and take them seriously, because people need help.